he's not out of the game anymore. He's moving his head, right, left, right. And he knows exactly what's going to happen, but his head is always like this. He's not running, but he's always watching what happens.
To understand greatness, you have to understand the journey. Lionel Messi's journey to greatness isn't one that can be measured solely by his jaw-dropping goals, his insane assists, or the records that he smashed over and over. It's more about how he has evolved, how he's adapted to every single challenge, and how his approach to the game changed the very fabric of what we think is possible in football. Messi's career is a masterpiece, not because he was the fastest or the strongest player on the field, but because he became the smartest. It's all about how Messi learned to use his head more than his feet, and how he turned what seemed like a limitation into his biggest strength. How then does Messi dominate without the need to run relentlessly? To understand that, we must return to where it all began. His life began like any other talented kid's, with a love for football that was contagious. At 6 years old, Messi joined Newell's Old Boys, one of Rosario's most respected clubs. There, he quickly made a name for himself, dazzling coaches and fans alike with his unmatched talent. His youth team became known as the Machine of '87, named after the year of birth of its players. Together they dominated local tournaments, losing just a single match over 4 years, but life, as it often does, threw a curveball at him. At just 11 years old, Messi was diagnosed with a growth hormone deficiency. He was small and his body wasn't growing the way it should, which meant that he might not have made it to the top like so many of his peers. But rather than give up, Messi kept fighting, kept playing, and kept dreaming. His family, realizing that Messi's talent was undeniable, did everything they could to get him the right treatment. Barcelona saw the potential and took a huge chance by offering to cover his medical expenses. At just 13, Messi moved to Spain, leaving behind his family and home in search of a future that seemed so uncertain. Little did anyone know that this was the beginning of one of the most remarkable careers in football history. When Messi first joined Barcelona's youth academy, La Masia, he was already a standout talent. His vision, his dribbling, and his ability to read the game were all there from the start, but what really separated him was how he seemed to know where the ball was going before anyone else did. While his speed wasn't necessarily blazing, his ability to shift directions in the blink of an eye and his natural flair with the ball left defenders dizzy. It didn't take long for him to catch the eye of the senior team's management, and when he made his debut for Barcelona's first team at just 17 years old, the world began to take notice.
Ronaldinho to Messi. Will he get that first goal for Barcelona? Remember the name, Lionel Messi.
But it wasn't until the 2006 to 2007 season that Messi truly introduced himself to football fans around the world. Messi was no longer just a prodigy, he was a player who could take control of a game in the blink of an eye. In the following years, Messi's play style became increasingly refined. He wasn't the tallest, he wasn't the strongest, and he wasn't the fastest, yet he managed to create magic every time he touched the ball. That's what made him so unique. During the 2008 to 2009 season, under the guidance of Pep Guardiola, Barcelona reached new heights. Their style of play, quick passing, fluid movement, and relentless attack perfectly suited Messi's vision and ability to exploit the smallest gaps. The 2008 to 2009 season saw Barcelona win the treble, La Liga, the Copa del Rey, and the Champions League. Messi was the beating heart of that team. He scored key goals, provided crucial assists, and showed up in moments when his team needed him most. It was in the 2009 Champions League final against Manchester United that Messi announced himself to the world.
It's 2-0. It's Messi. He scored against an English club now. It's Manchester United at that crucial time with 20 minutes to go.
Barcelona's 2-0 victory was a masterclass in football, and Messi's header to seal the deal was a rare but unforgettable sight. This goal wasn't just a fluke, it was a moment that showcased Messi's ability to adapt and grow. He wasn't just a dribbler anymore, he was a complete player who could do it all: score, assist, control the game. His impact in that final and throughout the entire campaign solidified his place as one of the best in the world, and that's when he won his first Ballon d'Or, marking the start of his incredible individual success. But what made Messi even more remarkable was his consistency. The years that followed saw Messi continue to break records and deliver performances that left fans speechless. His dribbling was still magical, his finishing still clinical, but it was his overall understanding of the game that set him apart. The 2010 to 2011 season was another banner year for Barcelona, with Messi leading the charge in yet another La Liga victory and another successful Champions League run. In the final against Manchester United, Messi put on a show that no one will forget.
Messi. Oh, Messi! He overpowered Edwin van der Sar. Out of very little. The little man gets a lot for Barcelona. He scores in England, and it's at Wembley. And it puts Barcelona 2-1 up against Manchester United in the Champions League final.
His stunning 25-yard strike in the final was not just a goal, it was a message. Messi was no longer just the young talent who dazzled with his feet. He was the leader, the mastermind, the player who could dictate the flow of a game with his vision and composure. But no matter how good Messi was at the club level, one question remained. Could he do it for Argentina? Messi had always been hailed as a legend for Barcelona, but Argentina's national team had been the one place where he hadn't yet delivered the silverware to match his incredible talent. It was hard for many to ignore the fact that, despite his brilliance, Messi hadn't yet won a major international tournament. The 2014 World Cup in Brazil was his chance. Argentina was packed with talent and Messi was the undisputed leader of the team. Messi carried Argentina through the tournament with some of the best performances of his career. He scored crucial goals, provided key assists, and dragged his team through tough matches. But in the final against Germany, Argentina came agonisingly close, only to lose 1-0 in extra time. It was devastating, but despite the loss, Messi's individual performances earned him the Golden Ball as the tournament's best player. It wasn't just the World Cup that Messi fell short in. Argentina lost 2 consecutive Copa America finals in 2015 and 2016, both in penalty shootouts to Chile. After the heartbreak of the 2016 final, Messi announced that he was stepping away from international football. The decision shocked everyone. Here was the greatest player in the world, one of the best to ever play the game, walking away from the team that needed him the most. Messi's retirement was a huge blow to Argentina, but it also spoke to the incredible pressure he carried on his shoulders. He was the heart and soul of the team, and when that final whistle blew, it was hard for him to shake the feeling that he had let his country down. But Messi's story didn't end there. In 2021, Messi returned to Argentina's national team with a renewed sense of purpose, and that year, Argentina's dreams finally came true. Messi led his team to victory in the Copa America, defeating Brazil 1-0 in the final at the Maracanã Stadium. It was a moment that Messi had dreamed of for years, and when he lifted the trophy, it was not just for him, but for all of Argentina. Messi had finally delivered on the international stage and the country rejoiced. However, the story doesn't end there. The World Cup 2022 hit the final chapter in Messi's quest for global dominance. From the first match, Messi was the player Argentina needed him to be. He scored, assisted, and led by example, showing that despite his age, he was still at the top of his game. But the real test came in the final against France, a game that would go down in history as one of the greatest matches ever played. Messi scored twice in regulation time, including a penalty in the shootout, and provided a level of leadership and skill that left fans in awe. Argentina triumphed 4-2 in the shootout, and Messi finally held the World Cup trophy in his hands. It was a moment that cemented his place as the greatest player of all time, and no one could argue otherwise. Through it all, Messi's game has always been about more than just the goals or the assists. It's been about his intelligence, his adaptability, and his ability to read the game in a way that few others can. Messi's ability to conserve energy, to dictate the pace of play, and to take advantage of his moments is what has set him apart. He's not the fastest player on the field, but he doesn't need to be. He knows when to slow down, when to go, and when to strike. That's why he became so lethal. He understood the flow of the game in a way that no one else could match. What truly makes Messi the greatest of all time is his evolution as a player. He wasn't just the young dribbler who we first saw at Barcelona. He was the complete player, someone who could control the game, score from anywhere, and lead his team to victory. Messi adapted his game as the years went by. His incredible dribbling became less about running at full speed and more about finding pockets of space. He knew when to pace himself, when to explode, and how to make his team tick. The result was a career that was defined not by physicality, but by an unmatched footballing mind. Messi didn't just change the game with his skills. He changed the way we think about what it means to be a footballing great. His journey shows that it's not always about being the strongest or the fastest. Sometimes it's about being the smartest player on the field, knowing when to run and when to walk, when to pass and when to shoot. And it's this understanding, this ability to read the game, that made Messi the greatest to ever play.